Welcome back to Above the Grain. I'm Aaron Moore, and over the weekend we had a large explosion here on this channel. Thanks to my friend Barry over at Mad City Modern, gave us a shout out in his recent video, and it's almost doubled our follower count, subscribers, in the last 24 hours. So I appreciate that. Let me tell you something about Barry real quick. Barry has been a longtime follower on my Instagram channel, where we've done a lot more of our content over the years. He's tried to convince me to do YouTube. It was better to get my work and the type of work we do in front of people like you, and I just never wanted to do it. I never had the time, I never had the energy, but finally in January, he motivated me, he pushed me, said you should just start by making a few videos, and 20 videos later, we started getting the hang of it. Now I think here we are, 45-ish videos in, and said I really appreciate the motivation and then the shout out that he just gave me. So let's get back into the shop, tell you what we've got going on for today. So remember in yesterday's video when we started bleaching and getting that mahogany table to go look like Haywood Wakefield? We're not quite there, but you notice it's not bright red or orange. We're back now in like that lighter white color, which is really easy now to, we're gonna go in the spray booth, mix up a custom toner, and try to match it to the chair, because the chair that goes with this is a set of 10. The chair is in a really good natural maple color, which is what the Haywood Wakefield pieces were. So I said, we gotta do that, but if you come over here, we're gonna do a touch-up on the top of this one. It's better now, but when we got to it, there's this weird bleached spot in the wood. It looks like it was sanded through in the veneer, but I don't think it was. I think it was just a weird spot in the veneer from the factory, but we're gonna have to blend that in, which now at this point, when it's really light, this repair is gonna be a little bit easier for us to do versus going back to that mahogany. So we're gonna do a few repairs on that. But first, we're going to work on that walnut table that Ivan got finished up yesterday, get the stain on it so we can start getting that to dry, and then we'll put it in the spray booth for a coat of sealer, probably sometime this afternoon. So this customer wants to go back to more like a brown mahogany type color, but being that it's walnut, it's not the easiest to get to that without using toners. So all I'm going to do is start it with our kind of standard medium brown walnut tone. That'll give us the undertones that we want for that brown mahogany. And then once we get in the spray booth in a couple days with the toner, then we can mix up something with a little bit more of the red / brown mahogany color to it and get it right to the color that this customer desires. Matches everything else in her home. So I said a lot of these drop leaf tables either came in the walnut or the mahogany, which you just saw. I said it's 1930s, 1940s is my guess from the era. And I said I think they picked this one up for a good deal because it's a really quality built table. It just needed some love, it needed some work from Ivan and I. And so we got that all mixed up. I'm going to just start on the bottom first. Whereas you can see, it's not walnut. It looks almost just like poplar. It's very just a generic wood. And then they put that walnut skin over it. This is veneered too, so very strange. You can see that color is really dark on the bottom. It won't look like that on the top. Okay, as you see on my channel, I like to do the perimeter first. That's usually my go-to. Do the perimeter, then we'll come back and then do the top section. This way when you're done, you can kind of finesse the rag and clean up any of the leftover that comes off the top. So we're going to just get a nice little amount here. So it's a really pretty mahogany. Kind of a bummer to see it go more on the mahogany side, but I just said that. This is the walnut. I said the walnut that they used in this era was very pretty. But when it goes back into the customer's home, it wants to match with the other pieces they have. So we do what they want. You can see, like I said, now it just brings us back to just a generic brown wood tone. We'll let this dry, get some sealer on, and then we can get a little bit of that mahogany color back on the top to tint it to that perfect, that perfect color that the customer was asking for. The staining on that little walnut table is just about done. Ivan's finishing sanding the pedestal. It has a few minutes left of some repairs and light sanding. But what I want to do is show you these leaves that have the damage on it when somebody tried to refinish it before we got to it. And if you come in a little bit closer, you can kind of start to see along this edge, they burned through a lot of this veneer on this edge around the outside. So what we're going to have to do is create this lighter color, which is really difficult to do this white, like blonde color, because even a lot of the blonde colors, the colorants, the toners, have a little touch of yellow to them. And as you can see, this doesn't have any yellow to it quite yet. So I've already done a few samples to kind of make it easier for me to figure out, so I can show you guys the proper way. I didn't want to be guessing on camera. So what we have, we're going to start this one with just a little bit of this toner called Champagne Frost. This is kind of just a really nice white color. You can see it's already close to it. And then at that point, I'm just going to add a little bit of the blonde. And even that, see, that was not quite what I wanted. We need to go, oh no, I know I messed up, see? I messed up right there live on camera. I didn't want to start with that color. I started with actually a little bit of the Swiss coffee, just the Swiss coffee paint. Then mixed up the a touch of this blonde. That's what I had done, just to add a little bit of color into it. So now there we go. So now we have that little bit of white. Let's see where I want to start this from. Because remember, what we're trying to do is match it where it's at now. So by the time we spray the toners on, it'll all kind of blend and come up to the final color together. All of these light touch-ups will kind of just go away. It actually makes it pretty easy to do. But to get that color is fairly difficult. So we had to play with 3 or 4 different colors to get what we wanted. So I'm just going to kind of go around, add a little bit of like stage 1 of this color. And so they sanded it like crazy. Instead of using stripper and using the proper materials to refinish furniture, they just decided to go ham with like 80 grit or something crazy like that. So that's kind of a good starting color. Kind of just go back real lightly. And that's where I ended up using a little bit of that Champagne Frost. Just to mist over it, kind of seal that in just a little bit. And so we'll let that sit for a minute and come back. I get a lot of messages about, what about the new lasers and everything that people are stripping furniture with. If you look really close, and it's every time I see these videos and they get sent to me daily probably, they're usually doing it on a solid hardwood, oak, ash, hickory, something in that species of wood. And that's a really hard, dense wood. When I go read all the comments and all the just reviews, just in my own personal take, I've been hearing a lot of stuff where it's ruining my furniture, it's doing this, it's doing that. And my opinion is that they're not doing it on furs or soft woods, I have not seen one video where they're doing it on veneer. My guess is that it could burn it up and just eat it up real easily, causing catastrophic damage to your piece of furniture. So I'm going to stick with my old school ways of using stripper and things along that, stripping, sanding, all of that. And if they want to reach out to me and come to my shop and prove to me that it works properly, I'd love to have those laser tool companies come out and show me. I would love to see it. I'd love to see it and make it easier for us to strip furniture, safer too, without using the methylene chloride. But I also noticed in a lot of those videos, a little bit of a steam or a smoke comes out from when they burn it off. That can't be good for you either. So you probably still need to wear PPE. It's just not as messy and maybe as dangerous as the stripper with the methylene chloride. So I sprayed a little bit of the toner on, a little bit of that Champagne Frost. Now we're close. I'm still not quite there yet. I can see a little bit of my brush strokes in some of these repairs. But what I'm thinking is that now I need to add a little bit of that warmer tone. I don't want to call it brown, but it's just that little bit of a tone that's not so white. So I think what I did on this last one, I used a touch of brown to get that. Let me thin it out because it's got a little touch of like not, I won't call it red, but maybe like peach is kind of a color that you want to say. Let's see. I would say peach is kind of like the color, but so we can layer it too. I'll do maybe a little touch of this color, and then I'll come back with another, just to try to blend in some of these areas. You can see I'm not putting on very heavy. I'm just trying to add a little bit of color over that white, which is what, you know, that champagne frost toner. So let me see here. Just spray a little bit more Swiss coffee in. Let's get it. See if I get it a touch more white. And then just kind of just work my way around. And so as you can see, it's like this is a fluid motion. You're not. I'm still learning too. Like 20 years later, this, especially a color like this, we do a repair like this maybe once a year. It's not a very common, you know, occurrence here at the shop. But so now you can see we have a little bit of character back to that grain. So I think one more pass of it, maybe a little different color, and we're pretty darn close. I'm really happy with that. We'll come here in the middle too, where I had that little bit of that weird stain, let's call it, and right in the middle. So we'll add a little bit of that to it, work our way around, and then we'll get this whole table in for toner maybe a little bit after lunch today. Okay, I've been in the spray booth mixing up some color and spraying it on here, some toner. So now, as you can see, we took that white bleached mahogany and brought it back to a warm maple color, which is what you know on a lot of the Haywood Wakefield. But as you can see, the bottom, the legs and the base, they still need to go in for a little bit of color. But let me show you, like, what we're trying to do is match it to the chair that goes with this set, but it's the natural maple color of it. So you can see there, I mean, this is gonna have a lot of variations because it's maple, a lot of end grain, different type of wood here. At the front is about a half a shade lighter. So what the other customers are gonna do, we're not refinishing the chairs. Another person's refinishing the chairs. They're gonna now match their chairs to the dining table top. Which, like I said, making this mahogany turn into this color is very difficult, and it's, you know, a 4 to 5 step process, as you've been watching. What I'm going to do now, get in the spray booth, mix up some more toner, and get these legs toned so we can get everything ready. We just had some surprise visitors, Jill and Devin, over from a company called Mid-Century to Modern. They just brought these in where they've done all the stripping, the sanding, and repairs. They just want me to do the spray coats, you know, in the spray booth, because we do everything with the HVLP system, and they don't have that in their shop. So what we're going to do is throw these in the spray booth, get some sealer on, but while we're doing that, we're going to finish tinting the legs to that, you know, that Haywood Wakefield mahogany table. So let's get in the booth. So I just poured a little bit of sealer in, and what I'm going to do is make up that special color that I figured out this morning. Actually, I want a little bit more of that one. That's what I want. And then this one has a little bit touch of like an orangey brown to it. I'm just going to put a little splash of that. And then get it mixed up. And then what we're going to do is shoot light coats over this leg. And I may actually take it out. We'll let it dry for a little bit. Bring the other legs in. Do it all, you know, do those ones. Bring them back out. Let them dry for a minute. Then check them to make sure they all line up. When you're doing this, as like it's hanging up, I like to do one leg at a time instead of bouncing around to multiple, you know, to multiple pieces at once. So I'm going to grab the gun, load it up, and we'll get spraying. Most importantly, getting your mask back on. We'll do that first. I already have it all mixed in the gun. We'll get the compressor on, and then you'll see I'm going to work my way up, down, top and bottom of this entire piece. Okay, so now you can see we have this beautiful Haywood Wakefield copycat mahogany dining table. So this is I'm gonna let this dry overnight. Put it up here carefully. We'll let that dry overnight, come back, sand the sealer again tomorrow on that, and then we'll shoot the final, which will go with like the nice flat sheen that we're known for spraying on all the Haywood Wakefield pieces. While we let that dry in the last few minutes, I'm going to put those pieces in from that company out there, you know, in LA, mid-century to modern. They sell a lot of really nice pieces. And if you've made it this far in the video and you know who designed these, let me know, put it down in the comments. We think it's a Milo Bowman style piece, but they said it's not Milo Bowman. So they're pretty petite. They're probably only about 15 by 15. Milo Bowman did a lot of stuff which was like 24-inch squares, a lot larger. So let's get back at the spray booth. We'll get these in for a few coats of sealer, and you can see the transformation on this Burl. You know, I think it's like just a Burl wood. It's really pretty. Back at the spray booth, got the sealer already made up. And then I'm just going to shoot a few coats of sealer on this because like I told you earlier, this customer did all the repairs. I don't even want to touch these or do anything because I don't want to rub off any of the repairs. So we're going to spray some sealer first, come back tomorrow, and do any small repairs that we see that, you know, that she may have missed. We just got the last coat of sealer on those little tabletops. We're gonna let those dry overnight, come back tomorrow and finish everything back up. Once again, as always, make sure to hit that subscribe button if I've earned it, if you've learned something new here today, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.